Good afternoon, St. Lucie County 5th graders. This is Mrs. LaShawn Ashton, and we only have about 3 more weeks until we are done with school and you guys are on your way to 6th grade. Are you excited? 6th grade's great. You guys are going to love it. I taught it for 8 years. So you guys are going to do wonderful. So today we actually have 2 different texts we're going to look at. Westward expansion, introduction to westward expansion is a regular just text. It's only 3 paragraphs. And then we're going to look at a timeline. So we'll talk about that a little bit more in detail. So, of course, whenever we look at a new text, we are always going to use what standards? Good, 1, 1, and 2, 4. But this is called Westward Expansion, Introduction to Westward Expansion. So do we think that's a informational text or a literature text? Good, it's informational because it's talking about the westward expansion, it's history. All right, I'm gonna read it to you and then we're gonna talk about some things. The Louisiana Purchase. In 1803, Thomas Jefferson bought a huge portion of land west of the Mississippi. He bought this land from France. The new territory was called the Louisiana Purchase. It more than doubled the size of the United States. The Louisiana Purchase cost $15 million total. That amounts to about 3 cents an acre. The land included 828,000 square miles of new land. New Americans would be responsible for exploring and settling much of this huge continent. The age of westward expansion was about to start. Manifest destiny. By the 1840s, Americans envisioned a nation that spread from sea to shining sea. They felt that it was their duty to spread out across the land. The belief in young democracy was so strong that Americans wanted to spread it across the entire continent. To them, exploring and cultivating new territory was the destiny of the young country and its citizens. Soon the phrase manifest destiny was echoing in newspapers and political speeches. The West was the embodiment of American optimism. Many American adventurers would go west to seek their fortunes. So let's go back. So we have the title, Westward Expansion. I'm trying to show you guys a little bit better. Westward Expansion, Introduction to Westward Expansion. So what do we think this whole thing is about by the title? Good, westward expansion, because it's repeated twice, right? Westward expansion, and this is just going to give us an introduction. So it's brief, and it's just going to give us an intro about it. Then, if we look here, it says the Louisiana Purchase. So what do we think from this heading that this whole section is going to be about? Good, the Louisiana Purchase. Then the next section is called the Manifest Destiny. So what do we think this paragraph is going to be about? Perfect, Manifest Destiny. So we know from just looking at the title and the headings that this is going to be about westward expansion. It is going to talk about Louisiana Purchase and the Manifest Destiny. So what is happening? Who is doing all this? Remember, that's one of our who, what, where, when, why, and how. Good. Thomas Jefferson. So Thomas Jefferson did what? Bought a huge portion of land west of the Mississippi. When? In 1803. And if we look at this map, see all of this right here in this dark green? That's all the Louisiana Purchase. So if we look at the whole United States, that's a big chunk of land that he bought. Do you guys remember how much he bought it for? $15 million total. And that equaled about 3 cents an acre. That's cheap. 3 cents an acre. Can we buy anything for pennies? No. So in 1803, that was pretty valuable. Money was definitely more than it is now. So, talked about this. Now, we're going to move to the timeline. Now, I don't know when the last time you guys saw a timeline is, but if you see the title, it says Westward Expansion, Westward Expansion Timeline. So is this the same as our first text? Yes and no. So it's going to talk about some of the same things in the text, but is it in paragraphs? No, it's in not even sentences. It's just in facts. It's in what is happening in the years it's happening. So let's look at what it says. It says 1803, April 30th, the Louisiana Purchase. So in this article, it just talks about that he bought he had the Louisiana Purchase in 1803, but didn't give a specific date. So we're going to get deeper into that on Monday about comparing, contrasting, and looking at both of them and seeing what we can gauge and what we can get from both articles put together and not just one. So that was just a little sneak peek of what we'll be doing Wednesday. 1804, so May 14th, 1804, Lewis and Clark expedition departs. 1825, Erie Canal completed. 1830, Indian Removal Act. March 6, 1836, Mexican troops storm the Texans at the Alamo. April 21st, 1836, Sam Houston's troops defeat Santa Anna and make Mexico recognize Texan independence. 1838, U.S. troops remove Cherokee Indians from their land. 1842, settlement of Oregon Territory begins. 1848, January, gold discovered in California. 1849, the California Gold Rush. April 3rd, 1849, the first Pony Express ride. What do we think the Pony Express ride is? Let me read the next two and I bet we can figure it out. 1861, the Transcontinental Telegraph completed. 1869, the Transcontinental Railroad completed. Okay, so let's go back to 1861. Transcontinental Telegraph. Do you guys know what a telegraph is? Okay, so a telegraph, you know how we have cell phones and you can call, whoever you want to call or text whoever you want to text and it's immediate? They used to not be able to do that. We used to not have cell phones. We used to not have landlines or home phones. Then they used to mail communication back and forth. But a telegraph is, you might have seen it in movies, where they have a machine and it taps it out. So it's like tap, 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 tap. And it sends a message across. So it was the first transcontinental telegraph was sent in 1861. So it was a message, kind of like a fax machine-ish, but it was sent transcontinental. It was the first time that they were able to send a message that way. So these are both about the westward expansion. However, the timeline puts things in a series of events. What happened first, what happened next, what happened in the middle, what happened last. So it gives you dates and events. And this text only gives you ideas of what was going on, but your timeline is giving you a lot more information about what was going on. So what I want you to do, if you don't have access to the Canvas course, I want you to Google or research an event, or if you have your iReady books at home, or any book that might have a timeline, I want you to look at that. Or if you don't have a timeline, I want you to create a timeline of your life. So the year you were born, something that may have happened, you may have moved, you may have gotten a sibling, whatever it is, start from when you were born up until now. And then I want you to write a quick summary about your life. And I want you to compare the two, all right? And then we'll talk more about that on Wednesday. You guys have a great day, and I'll see you on Wednesday. Bye. Bye.